Hello, Impact communities. I'm Kate. Thanks for tuning in this weekend to the message. It is one that's dear to my heart because identity is something that I've had to continually work on in my own life. And so I'm passionate about it for myself. I'm passionate about it for you, and I'm passionate about identity for the church as a whole. If you listened, you heard me talk a lot about identity, a lot about unity, maturity, and Ephesians 4. Paul talks and dives into what it really looks like to be the church. And so I'd love for a second for you guys to talk about those names that he threw out there: apostle, prophets, evangelist, shepherds, and teachers. Have you heard those before, or were they brand new to you? Do you see areas in your life where you maybe have been walking in one or the other? And what would that look like to put some intentionality and mission behind those giftings? And did you know those are in fact from Christ himself? He gave them to you specifically for the building up and encouragement of our church. I'd love for you to talk in your groups as well about, to dive in about what it would look like, knowing that these were hand given to us by Jesus himself. What would it look like to double down in the area of evangelism as an impact community, or to double down in the area of apostleship as an impact community? And what would that do to the walls of these church? Would they collapse, or would the walls get bigger and keep us inside? Because we all know we want to get beyond these walls and share this good news of who Jesus is with the world. Something I wanted to bring to your attention too as we talked about unity and maturity. If you hop with me over to John chapter 17, it's so good to talk about this in verses 13 and all the way to 21. I'm going to read it for a second. This is Jesus's prayer before he heads to the cross. And he slowed down and prayed for you, and he prayed for me, and he prayed for his bride, the church. He says, "But now I come to you, and these things I speak in the world so that they may have my joy made full in themselves. I've given them your word, and the world has hated them because they are not of the world, and even as I am not of the world. I do not ask you to take them out of the world, but to keep them from the evil one. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. Sanctify them in the truth. Your word is truth. As you sent me into the world, I also have sent them into the world. For their sakes I sanctify myself, that they themselves also may be sanctified in truth." But then here's where it gets good. I mean, it's all good, but this is what I want to hanker on. "I do not ask on behalf of these alone, but for those who also believe in me through their word, that they may all be one, even as you, Father, are in me and I in you, that they also may be in us, so that the world may believe that you sent me." Our oneness in Christ is exactly what Jesus knew. He bet the farm on it. That our oneness as the bride of Christ, as the church, not uniformity, not all going the same way, but our oneness, even in the differences and the different giftings and the beauty that that brings, would be a force in this dark world, that we are of Christ and we are of the kingdom world. That is something to fight for. It is hard. It is not easy to insist on being one, especially when there are so many things that come and divide us and could easily pull us apart from one another. But it is worth every battle. It is worth every hard conversation. It is worth every moment to look back on some of the things that you said or whatever you posted on social media or the kind of arguments you got into this past week to see, man, was I acting as one with this person, or was I just kind of throwing mud at them? It's not going to get easier. It doesn't get easier to be one with people that you disagree with or people that are different from you, but it is always worth it. And Jesus was willing to bet the farm that we would move as one. And that happens, and it's easier done when we walk in the giftings that Christ has given us as well. So I'd love for you to guys talk in your groups as well. What does it look like to fight for oneness in the church, in today's world, in tomorrow's world, and last year's world? And what are some things you can do after this impact group, after you're done meeting, that continues to push that forward, that oneness forward, because it is worth every battle we will ever fight to be one with one another, that they may also believe, so that the world may know that God has sent Jesus. And that is what we want everyone to know. I would love for you to go throughout your week this week with those giftings in mind. If I do have the gift of evangelism, how should I respond in my place of work? Or how can I let that gift rise to the top? If I have the gift of teaching, how do I see that play out in my daily life? It's all meant to be tangible things that we can walk in, all meant to be ways that we walk in together, and all meant to be ways where we continue to impact the world around us for Christ, because the world is hungry for Jesus. I love you guys. Praying for your time together, and we'll see you later.